Hello, welcome. You're watching SportsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra, and India got off to a good start, and we will talk about the nitty-gritties of the match and a lot of other details pertaining to Rohit Sharma and Mayank Agarwal, and what does this performance do to that perennial problem we've had of openers. With me in the studio is senior sports journalist Harpal Singh Bedi. Sir, always a pleasure having you. But first up, Rohit Sharma and Mayank Agarwal completely flattened the South African bowling lineup, putting India in a comfortable position to win the first test. Mayank Agarwal today completed his double century, making him only the fourth batsman to turn his first century into a double century. Mayank Agarwal and Rohit Sharma have shut all criticism around the opening pair for now. But questions have been raised over the pitch and whether it favoured Indian openers due to the lack of movement South African pacers could bring on to the fore. We will talk about that in just a bit. But first up, Mr. Bedi, your thoughts on how Rohit Sharma prevailed this time around and how superb was his batting?
No, I totally
discounting the fact that it's Indian pitches that
forget about pitches. It's level playing field, pitches for them also, and they knew, the visitors who come, they know what the pitches are. It's not that the South Africans are coming for the first time. And this reminds me of the 2016-17 series, where they were much more formidable side, much more solid batting side, but matches you to end in 2 days, 2.5 days, 3 days. And I think what Sodhi once predicted that this may match end up in a 4 day is quite possible. 39 for 3. And as far as Rohit Sharma is concerned, he is a good batsman, and this is just getting a chance to play as an opener and with Mayank Agarwal. And I think it is not surprising that they built up a 317 partnership, opening partnership. They were on the verge of setting a record. All said and done, a very formidable display by the Indians, batting, bowling and fielding.
Right, we are also joined by former India player Deep Das Gupta onto the show. Deep, what did you make of Rohit's stellar performance? And in fact, the last time you were on our show, we were talking about how Rohit Sharma could, find himself on the back foot and struggle in the face, of opening for India. But, he shut all criticism up, and those 15 to 20 minutes that we spoke of that were crucial for Rohit Sharma as an opener, he did pan out pretty well.
Someone with Rohit's ability and capability, I'm not surprised. In fact, I remember in one of our shows a while ago, I said next 5 test matches, I won't be surprised if he scores 300 in the next in this span of the next month or so, where you play 5 test matches at home, because he is of that stature and that kind of a batsman. What I really liked about his batting was obviously the technical changes that he's made. On top of that, it's very. The toughest part would be to kind of control the ego. Somebody who has established as Rohit, somebody who's taken almost every goal in the world to the screeners in white ball cricket. For the first hour or so, just to hold on to his ego and not to play a false shot. That was incredible. The biggest question mark, one of the biggest question marks against Rohit's red ball career has been his temperament. And I think that was very, very evident in this innings, and that is heartening to see.
Absolutely, and we are also joined by Mr. Rajkumar Sharma. Mr. Sharma, appreciate you being here. We are talking about Rohit Sharma and how he has proved all his detractors, his critics wrong, and a very important that has been made by Deep Das Gupta is that it's the temperament that always had to be adjusted, and Rohit just had to figure out what works for him. Maybe he's fallen onto something which he can rely on from now onwards, cementing his place at the top of the batting lineup.
Pressure on Rohit, saying that how he faced the new ball, especially the red one, because he has done so well with the white ball, and everybody knows he's a tremendous player in one-day cricket. But there was a real question mark on his batting in Test cricket, and it was a new role given to him. But the way he batted was tremendous. He has just cemented his place in the team, and with Mayank playing so well, India's got a new player for the Test cricket.
Well, absolutely. Mr. Bedi, what do you make of the partnership between these two? And it must have been, sort of a challenge for Rohit as well to open at this position and yet perform so brilliantly.
I won't agree with you. That is that there was a criticism about Rohit Sharma. There was never a criticism. He was given a job, he fulfilled the job. He played in the test matches where he had already scored 2 centuries, though in the middle order. he's a good batsman, and they said, okay, look, there is never a criticism. I don't know where the criticism is coming. They said, okay, a criticism is that we are not finding a stable opening pair. Now they use it, and one thing, we should not, in spite of the fact that two batted very well, we should not go gaga over it.
Why do you think we did not try this earlier?
The problem is that once we go gaga over it, then next we expect them to score centuries every time. It's not possible. And I shudder to think what happened to Karan Nair. Remember that he scored a 300 and he was benched. So remember, at the moment, one inning does not prove that everything is okay. But one thing has proved that Rohit Sharma, there was no doubt, and he can open the inning. And red ball or white ball, it makes no difference to a player of his caliber. This makes a difference to other players who are just into the international cricket. He has experience of 14 or 15 years behind him. And second, these two fast bowlers, Rabada and Fernandez, were never looking very incisive. They were never hardly looked any penetrative. And as far as spinners are concerned, left side of the player, better Muthu Swami and Krishna Maharaj looked at sea, all at sea. They were all newcomers, and Indians know how to play spinners. The only threat was from the pace bowlers, who failed to make any breakthrough early in the stage. So as far as criticism that there was a doubt about Rohit Sharma, I don't think there was a doubt. Doubt was when we are going to get a settled opening pair. And there was, as you rightly pointed out, that so many seven
combinations have been tried in the past.
Now, at the moment, for this series, and coming actually against Bangladesh, this opening pair is settled, unless big thing happen.
Right. And Deep, let's also talk about South Africa and the fact that some of their key bowlers, including Philander and Rabada, were not able to, get much breakthrough against this Indian side. It was the spinners, it was Maharaj and it was Pete who in fact troubled the batsmen. It's basically, a start of a new test team for South Africa as well. We are talking about how inexperienced they've been, how they also need to, try new combinations. So this is perhaps, a learning for South Africa, that when you come to India, you have to focus more on spin, not only in terms of attack, but also in terms of defense.
What I thought that was a negative move to play three spinners. That's what I thought. Listen, if your strength, for example, if India's strength is spin bowling, irrespective of which part of the world you play, you still want to play a spinner. You're not going to go with all 4 or 5 fast bowlers. Seeing this South Africa, I was really surprised to see 3 spinners in their starting lineup. I thought either India would play or the Norway would play, because both these bowlers have speed. And as far as 3 spinners are concerned, listen, just because you're playing in the subcontinent doesn't mean you have to play a spinner. You also need quality. I see that quality in Maharaj, can see as well the amount of experience he's had over the years in first class cricket, and he's been bowling really well last year or so in their domestic circuit. But 3 spinners is way too much, because they have other options. Dean Elgar, last time India was here, he picked up 4 wickets. In fact, in this inning, he picked up 1 wicket. So if you need somebody to hold on to one end, you always have these part-time bowlers, and that's kind of, that tells you a little bit of the mindset of the dressing room and the team, and I thought that was a little negative.
Mr. Sharma, what did you make of Mayank Agarwal? In fact, Virat Kohli's headache when it comes to the opening pair's stability has been pacified to some extent. To a lot of extent, I would concur.
Yes, I think now this looks to now this looks to be a settled pair, and the way both of them have batted, they have given a lot of confidence to the captain and the team management. And speaking about Mayank Agarwal, we have seen that he has shown character when he was in Australia. Indian, all the batsmen, howsoever great or experienced they were struggling against Nathan Lyon. But this guy went and opened the inning, and the way he started putting pressure on Nathan Lyon by hitting him for a couple of sixes straight and towards mid-wicket, he just took away the pressure of Nathan Lyon from Indian batsmen. So he has the courage, he has the technique, he has the temperament. I think he is a new find for India, and I think with if he has got good work ethics, I think he will go a long way.
Right, we are also joined by former India cricketer Ritinder Singh Sodhi on the program. Ricky, appreciate you joining us. First of all, let's talk about what do you make of how Rohit Sharma has in fact, played his innings yesterday and today as well, putting a lot of people who thought that, here is a man who's been exceptionally well in the shorter formats of the game, but yet there was some sort of an impediment. I wouldn't say that he's not a good batsman when it comes to Test cricket. I would concur with Mr. Bedi that he's got centuries also, but he was not able to cement his place in the side. And this perhaps is a message not only to the team but also to those people that, he did not have the temperament suited to open the innings when it came to Test matches for India.
Yeah, Vineet, the best way to silence your critics is getting runs, and Rohit Sharma has done that beautifully. There was pressure on him first time as a Test opener. He could have failed also under the pressure, but that shows how bigger the batsman he is. And now the question of who will be the Test opener for next few Test matches to come, this place will have to go to Rohit Sharma because he has earned it. And I'm sure he will open for India in Test matches for a very, very long time to come.
Right, and Mr. Bedi, there's going to be a lot of talk of the pitch as well, and how conducive it has been for us, and how non-conducive it perhaps has been.
The first piece, all the teams who have come, they have suffered the same fate. They know it. It's not we suffered the same fate. These South Africans suffered the same thing in 2016-17, and they had much more formidable batting lineup.
Yeah.
And the match used to end up in 3 days. 3.5 days, remember? And Ratinder had predicted it would end in 4 days. If there had been no rain, I think it would have finished in 3.5 days. That's why, and because you have to prolong the match because of certain constraints, not that because otherwise it would finish in 3.5 days. Having said that, I think any complaint against the pitch is not genuine because it's level playing field. And if you come with 3 spinners who are novice in the moment, what can you do? You can't blame Indians. And if you do not have spinners, you cannot blame India. Every country nowadays, even the Britishers who had a very this tradition that they don't tinker with the field, the pitches, and we used to talk about Lords and everything. They also started tinkering with the field. So if Indians have done it, and Indians have not done anything wrong, it is open. They make the pitches according to whatever suits them. This is the host country's right. So why to blame them? When you go and you say this is how it is, the fast bowlers turn this, what they do, outswing, in-swing, whatever you were talking, because of fast pitches. And be prepared for it. And we make no excuses there because fast bowlers, you know it that they have a fast bowler battery, and be prepared to face it. And remember this thing now, nobody is going to take a chance till 2021 is the World Test Championship going on. So every victory fetches you points.
40
so
points.
there is no relaxation or no quarter given to anybody and no quarter taken. So I think this blame to say that pitches were suited, yes, so be it. Why not?
All right, Ricky, you wanted to come in on what Mr. Bedi was saying, and then in fact we'll talk to Deep Das about India's bowling prowess as well. We've already made a lot of headway into that. Ricky, go ahead and make your point first.
Yeah, I just want to add on what Bedi sir has said, that if somebody is complaining about the wickets, that ball is turning far too much or there's vicious bounce, then that person has to accept the fact that on the same track, Indian batsmen were making merry. So the class is missing if we talk about South African spinners, but when our spinners bowl, that class is visible. And that is what we have been talking about. And that is where South Africa has made a cardinal error in playing 3 spinners. They could have come with fast bowlers. They must have used the deck with the slower ones with some reverse swing, but that was not the case. And India went on a run spree. So that is where I think we have to really accept the fact that South Africa seems to be a pedestrian side and they are struggling big time, and they will struggle again in the other Test matches too.
Deep, what do you make of what Ricky just said? Apart from invoking some heavy terminology like cardinal and all, I want you to tell me, what do you concur with him that South Africa should have gone with more pacers rather than spinners? Because it's anybody's guess. It's an 80-year-old's acumen to decide that if it comes to spin, India is going to trample all over you, and yet they went with more spinners than pacers.
That's exactly what I said a while ago. In fact, I thought that was very negative going in with 3 spinners. That's exactly what I said. I mean, I just thought this tells me about my particular perspective. I mean, you don't have good enough spinners. You have 2 decently good spinners, but then the third spinner, I mean, it does not make sense to me. I mean, what are you thinking about? You've got fast bowlers. You have Knock in there. You have Lungi and GT who goes with pace. They can reverse the ball. And the good part is then you have someone like Fernand Philander who can bowl 20 overs in a day, 22 overs in a day, and hold up one end. You have Dane Elgar, who picked up a wicket in this innings and has picked up, I think, 4 wickets in the last series. So if you really needed a holding job to be done, you had bowlers in that team as well. So, yeah, I mean, fair enough. And as far as the pitches are concerned, listen, I mean, they keep fibbing. Whoever comes to India, they keep fibbing about what you expect. You come to the subcontinent, these are the pitches you're going to get. I mean, you like it or don't. I mean, the moment an overseas team, whether it's India going to South Africa and talk about conditions, they've lost the series right there and there. The moment you start talking about conditions, you've lost the series. Whoever it is India going to Australia or Australia coming to India or India, South Africa, whatever happens.
Absolutely, and a valid point, Mr. Sharma. This also kind of exposes the chinks in South Africa's armour. This also exposes that despite having just a couple of world-class players, it largely is an inexperienced side when it comes to playing against India in India.
Very true. I mean, this looks to be the weakest side in the last few years because if you look at the names, they hardly have any experience apart from Du Plessis or Quinton de Kock or Markram to some extent. I mean, they have no quality batsmen, and about their fast bowlers, I think Rabada didn't bowl to what he was supposed to. And I think I agree with Ricky that they should have gone with their strength. Their strength is their fast bowling because spinners, we have seen the way they were bowling and the way Indian batsmen were playing against them. So they are not quality spinners as India have. So I think South Africa did a mistake by not playing too many spinners. Rather than they should have gone to their strength of adding one more fast bowler to put some pressure on Indian batsmen.
Right, absolutely, and they've already lost Malcolm.
One thing is there. Before we condemn the South African spinners, give them a credit. Forget about opening partnership. These were 317. They managed to get 7 wickets for 195. That is 500. So every test and every match is sometimes a big partnership takes place, which it is a huge partnership which took place, where some certain chances were given. If you had a previous old South African team, they would not allow Jonty Rhodes and company. Forget about that. But having that, before condemning South African inexperienced spinners, they managed to get 7 wickets for 195, 317 apart. We were 317, no loss, and we were 502 for 7. This is other way of looking at it. It's not saying that opposite you can say you cannot deduct 317, not deducting it. But once they were able to break the partnership, they were able to control the situation, whatever was left of the situation. Otherwise, India was going to had to 550 or 560 runs. But they were able to. It may be a very lame argument, but it is an argument in the sense that they are not all that bad. They did try to fight against a very formidable batting side up. Remember this thing, that apart from 2 openers, nobody could score 50. Other 5 and they were all Rehane, Kohli, Pujara, Jadeja, Hanuma, Vihari. So give the credit to that extent that an experienced team was able to contain rampaging Indian batting.
Absolutely, and Ricky, South Africa is going to start, the next day in a lot of trouble as well. They've already lost 3 wickets. Our spin duo of Ashwin and Jadeja have already taken to the cleaners. There's not much, testing to be done for the South African side because some of their best batsmen who they were supposed to rely on, like Markram, and they have already gone. In fact, they're back to the, comfort of their rooms or their dugouts already.
Look, it was always on the cards, Vineet. We always knew when South Africa landed on Indian soil, they were depleted side. And we were talking that cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties. But the fact is that India always had the advantage with the arsenal they have. And India has done it clinically. They have got runs on the board and now ball is turning. They have better spinners and they are creating all sort of troubles. And I have a strong feeling that this match who knows, might get over tomorrow, because with the batting lineup South Africa has, the way they tackle the spinners, they really are depleted when we come talk about technique. So things are going to be very difficult, and Virat Kohli will leave no stone unturned to win this test match as convincingly as he can.
Right, and Deep, talking about Virat Kohli, not very lucky this time around, not been able to add too many runs on the board. And of course, you know, a good achievement by Muthusamy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, but that's all right. I mean, listen, I won't be too worried about one inning here, a couple of test matches here and there. Listen, he's a modern day great, and one inning or one test match will not make any difference. But obviously, he would want to. And as far as India is concerned, I'd rather have Virat scoring at 20 for 2 rather than 200 for 2. So if I have that choice, and which I'm sure he will. So I'm not worried about that. I just love stories receiving statements. So that they're amazing, isn't it? Rap speaking and all that stuff. Yeah. My only thing is, listen, as far as South Africa, I'm going to concur with Mr. Bailey there. Listen, their mindset is a little negative. I still hope they can make a comeback here, because they're not a bad side. Yes, they're inexperienced. Not too many of them have played in India, Indian soil before. It's going to be difficult, but it's important, it's imperative to have a positive mindset. Dan Keith, for example, it was his 4th over when he started bowling round the wicket. Listen, if you're bowling in India, you bowling round the wicket as an off-spinner, I mean, it does not make sense to me. So that kind of tells you about the mindset. And like I said, I mean, nobody gave the Australian a chance, did they? I mean, they won the first test match in Pune. They still won at Ranchi because they were mentally strong, they were mentally positive. Irrespective of the name on the score sheet or the team sheet, it's not that important. It's about what you do, and that's where I think South Africa started off on the wrong foot, talking about the conditions, picking up three spinners, and that mindset needs to change in that season if they want to change anything at all.
But Deep, what was the alternative that you think South Africa should have positioned themselves in, if not this?
Straight away, I would have picked up another spinner. I mean, you got Nokia who goes at he has the ability to bowl at 150 km an hour. You use him in sort of spells. Obviously, with that pace, you will get, and the kind of action that he has, you will get some reverse swing. So you open up options of picking up wickets. As of now, what options do you have? Rabada, I mean, he does not reverse the ball that much. And when you play with the subcontinent, if you have an option of a fast bowler who is quick and can reverse the ball, you have him in the side. Yes, you need spinners, but as fast bowlers are concerned, listen, there's a reason why Umesh Yadav is so successful in India, because of his pace, his action, and the ability to reverse the ball. I mean, if you have somebody in your ranks, play him, and unfortunately, South Africa did not.
Mr. Sharma, what do you make of South Africa, in fact, focusing on things that perhaps should not have been focused on? You know, they should have, in fact, worked towards, you know, their determination and their focus, rather than worrying or working up about the pitch, because they already know that when it comes to beating India in India, it's going to be something I said the other day as well, a Himalayan task. So they should have, you know, positioned themselves on individual achievement, as well as, you know, something, you know, which Virat Kohli is also known for doing, pepping themselves and pepping each other up and working as a unit. We did not get to you know, see that feeling in the South African side, as if they were confident also facing this Indian side.
Yeah, I think they were not very well prepared for this, this type of batting, and then our spinners. I think they need a lot of experience, they need a lot of guts. The batsmen will have to show a lot of character, and I believe Faf du Plessis, when he comes to play, he can play a big role, you know, because he has that experience to play in India, and he has shown that character also, that he can play long innings. And now, since he has got the responsibility as a captain also, he has to lead from the front. And with Quinton de Kock and other players, if they can really stick on and show character, I think they can still fight it out, but it looks very, very difficult because the way Ashwin and Jadeja are bowling, I mean, they'll have to play out of their skins to save this test match.
Absolutely. So the crux of the matter is that South Africa will have to play out of their skins to match the Indian standard. Well, we'll just move away from this particular topic.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.